While institutions exist in South Africa to implement the Sustainable Development Goals, they are not yet working in a coherent manner to ensure success by the 2030 deadline. That's the view of the country's Auditor General, who was speaking exclusively to SABC News on the sidelines of a workshop of Supreme Audit Institutions at the UN in New York. The gathering forms part of a collaboration between the International Organization of Supreme Audit Institutions and the UN's Department of Economic and Social Affairs to develop a framework through which Auditors Generals can play a central role in the evaluation of financial management of the SDGs from conception through to completion.
You could be looking at the most important individual when it comes to the SDG success in South Africa. Part of critical discussions to create a system through which to assess and monitor the implementation of the 17 goals and their 169 targets.
The Sustainable Development Goals are about the building of schools, the building of roads, the building of hospitals, the provision of water, the reduction of poverty. So what we do, because money gets allocated to our governments and our governments commit that money to doing all these things, we as auditors in the past have only been involved in producing reports on financial management. We have not been involved in producing reports on whether the school that was promised has been built, whether the hospital that was meant to be in place has been put in place, whether the road network that's supposed to lead to the school is in place. And that's what auditors are gearing themselves up for.
Makwetu is chair of the Capacity Building Committee of Intosai, an umbrella organization to promote development and improve government auditing worldwide.
We promote transparency, how this money is being used, so that if somebody at the end says we could not put the school in place, at least there can be a report that says indeed the school was not put in place and here are the reasons why that school was not put in place. Maybe the money was used on something else or money was stolen if that is what has happened. But that's what auditors will be there to do, to make sure that if you say you are going to promote jobs in your economy, we need to have a measurement that says where are the targets, where are the indicators that show that jobs have been created, so that we can test them. And we can apply our methodology as auditors to determine whether what you are writing in your report is indeed what you have done.
With governance highlighted as one of the major weaknesses in the failure to achieve the Millennium Development Goals, with estimates the SDGs could cost some 60 trillion rand per year in state spending alone.
I think it's a fair expectation that this target in the next 15 years, a lot of progress can be made. Certainly they cannot all be achieved in the next 15 years, there's no doubt about that. But I think it's good to have a stick in the ground and say that we want to measure how far we've come 15 years from now. And certainly if there are mechanisms that are put in place by both the private, the public sector and civil society organizations. And of course in the journey towards this is also a very important responsibility to fight corruption among others, because once funds are diverted from where they were intended, you then obviously fail from day one.
And while politicians agreed to the goals, it will be accountants like these gathered here that could determine their success or failure. Sherwin Bryce-Pease, SABC News, New York.